Hello and good evening all, and welcome to another episode of Garage Guys Sports. I'm Jess Allison. Nice to be with you tonight. Tonight, we wrap up NFL Week 6 with some Monday Night Football action, as well as going to a World Series preview as the World Series kicks off tomorrow, Tuesday, October 20th. So, let's get into it. Our first NFL game of the Monday night doubleheader saw Kansas City at Buffalo. Kansas City wins by a score of 26-17. Patrick Mahomes goes 21-26 for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. The biggest story of the game is the rookie out of LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, has 26 carries for 161 yards. Ridiculous. The Chiefs were 10 of 15 on 3rd and 4th down, gained 466 total yards of total offense, but the penalties are stacking up for them. They still committed 8 penalties for 68 yards, and each team had 1 turnover. Buffalo, they scored 17. They were within striking distance within the first half of the game. Through almost to the end of the game, they were within striking distance. In the fourth quarter, they had a good amount of chances, the Buffalo offense, to convert some third downs, some critical third downs. Couldn't do it. Just couldn't get that big play that they needed. Josh Allen was 14 of 27, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. 42 yards on the ground. That's just not going to get it done, you know. There's a 14 of 27 for 122 yards. Buffalo, their defense and their team as a whole kept them in this game. I mean, you look at this. Time of possession goes to Kansas City easily, and that's probably what won this game. But penalties are about even. 3rd and 4th down conversions, about even. Turnovers, 1 for each team. Buffalo lost this game by letting KC get back on the field and letting Pat Mahomes be Pat Mahomes. That's how the Raiders won last week against the Chiefs, is they kept Pat Mahomes off the field. That's what you got to do if you want to even have a remote chance of stopping this team. I mean, Pat Mahomes is otherworldly, as we've seen in his young NFL career. He's got a Super Bowl MVP and an MVP already. This is his 3rd year as a starter, his 4th year in the league. You know, they both had 9 drives. Kansas City was just able to do more with the drives they had. KC fumbles right before the first half ends. Travis Kelce fumbles the ball. Buffalo was in great position. They miss a field goal. They could have tied the game at 13 going into the half. Instead, Kansas City goes in with the lead, some confidence, comes back out, wins the second half, and wins the football game. Like I alluded to on our last show, this was telling of Josh Allen. Like, he doesn't come through in these big games and you expect him to. There was a couple key third downs where, like, bro, you got the world champs in your house. This is the opportunity coming off a loss to say, hey, you know what? Fuck all the noise. I'm great. My team's great. We're going to beat these guys in our house by playing good football. And they did for a lot of this game, but it comes down to the fourth quarter. Games like this always come down to the fourth quarter. And you couldn't get it done. Couldn't get it done. Buffalo now has Miami nipping at their heels in the AFC East, and New England's always going to be a thorn in their side. So, 2 straight losses. We'll see what that means for them in the coming weeks. I don't think it's looking very good for Buffalo right now. That's all I'm saying. We move on to the next game of this Monday night doubleheader. Arizona at Dallas. Throughout the first quarter, got to about mid-first quarter, it was pretty even. It was a 0-0 game. And then Zeke Elliott decided to fumble the football all over the field. They lost the turnover battle against Arizona. First of all, they lost the game 38-10. That's just not going to get it done. Sorry. And Kyler Murray only completed 9 passes for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns, but had 74 yards on the ground and another rushing touchdown. But back to the turnover battle. Dallas commits 4 turnovers, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles by Zeke. All costly turnovers. They give up a couple big plays to Arizona, and that's the difference in the game right there. That's what leads to blowouts. Turnover battle and giving up gigantic plays. Murray, like he only completed 9 passes, but in those 9 passes he completed 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? Kenyon Drake went off, the running back for the Arizona Cardinals. On 20 carries, he had 164 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Cowboys were pretty even with the Cardinals on 3rd and 4th down conversions. In fact, the Cowboys were perfect. 3 for 3 on 4th down conversions. But they were 1-3 in the red zone, as the Cardinals were 3-4 on red zone possessions. It's not going to get it done. Dallas allowed 3 sacks today. I know Zach Martin went down with injury. That O-line's a little busted up. Had some guys retire this offseason. Have some injuries right now. Obviously, the star quarterback's gone. I thought they would kind of rally around and win this game. But, man, it was messy. I think the pressure's kind of on Zeke. Like, hey, Dak's gone. You're the guy now. You got to be the bell cow. Like, you got to win games. And I think he was doing a little bit too much in the first half, trying to fight for extra yards, and that's always how you get stripped, fighting for extra yards. Ugly for Dallas. His fans, if you watched the game, at the end of the game, the Boo Birds were out in full force. I felt bad for the Cowboys. I mean, they've gone through a lot this week, and but they just lost. They didn't just lose this game, like they lost this game, and you just can't do that. In fact, Dallas won the time of possession battle today. They possessed the ball longer and still got blown out. Turnovers are a killer. We'll see if Dallas can bounce back next week. Although they got blown out and they are 2-4 currently through 6 games, they are still your NFC East division leader. There you go. That's all I'll say about that. That's all I'll say about the NFC East. I won't say that it's a trash division and all these teams are terrible, but it's a trash division and these teams are terrible. There, I said it. So, as we wrap up week 6 of the NFL, we now go to division standings, which I was just alluding to. We will start in the AFC. In the AFC East, we see Buffalo still on top, clinging after 2 straight losses to that 4-2 record. They are 1 game above Miami, who battled their way to 500 football. Fantastic job for the Miami Dolphins and Ryan Fitzpatrick, the Harvard man himself. New England falls to 2-3. They are behind Buffalo and Miami. I don't have the stat. I don't remember the last time that happened, though. I think it's before I was born. That's insane. The Jets are 0-6. I won't even talk about the Jets. They're talking about standings and playoff races. Anyway, the Jets are awful. If New England, they want to be in the playoffs, they got to start playing some ball. They got to start playing serious. It looked tough for them down the stretch last year. And now at Cam, and, some turmoil and, having games off due to COVID and dealing with this and, your quarterback, and as much as they act like it's not a big deal, you just had a guy play the premier football position for you for 20 years. You let him walk out the door, and you just expect to be a playoff team again. I get Matt Castle led them to the playoffs, but that was also a pretty stacked Patriots team, if you guys remember. This isn't really a stacked Patriots team as they've had in the past. So that's tough. That's tough. like Miami's playing pretty good football, but so is Buffalo. So that's tough. Anyway, we move on to the AFC West. Kansas City sits atop the division, 2 games ahead of the Las Vegas Raiders at 5-1. The Las Vegas Raiders currently stand at 3-2. Las Vegas plays Tampa this week, so we will see on a Sunday night matchup if the Las Vegas Raiders can beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to shorten that gap. We'll see. The Bucs, I think, are hitting their stride, so I think it'll be a really good game. So I think the Raiders are off a bye week. They're going to be very healthy. So I think I obviously I'm a little biased, but I think it's going to be a great game. Denver tries to climb back into the race at 2-3 as they beat New England at home. Drew Lock was back in action. He looked pretty good. 18 points scored. I don't think that's going to get it done against the Raiders or the Chiefs. So we'll see what they do moving forward. I think not having Von Miller for the season is going to hurt them big down the stretch, though. And the Chargers are sitting at the bottom of the division at 1-4. They've had some real heartbreakers. I feel for the Chargers and their fans, but, you know, football. Moving on to the AFC North, Pittsburgh sits atop the division at 5-0 over the 5-1 Baltimore Ravens. Cleveland comes in at third at 4-2. Pretty tight race all around. Pittsburgh demolished Cleveland this last week, and they look like a pretty complete football team. They got a couple real good guys on defense. Of course, they did lose Devin Bush, the second-year linebacker out of Michigan, who was a big player in that defense. He's out for the year with an ACL tear. But they got TJ Watt, and they got some guys that can bring it. An offense, they have the rookie Chase Claypool, who looks fantastic and is a great target for Ben Roethlisberger. They got James Conner running the ball out of the University of Pittsburgh. I think his 3rd or 4th year in the league. He's looking really good. That O-line looks fantastic, led by Andrew Villanueva. Just an all-around good team. Mike Tomlin's a great coach, and he's always got these guys coached well. We'll see what they can do down the stretch. I cannot wait to watch Pittsburgh face off against Baltimore. Those are always great games, but this year, like, those are going to be great games. So we take it over to the Bengals are at the bottom of the division at 1-4-1. We take it over to the AFC South, where, in my opinion, the best team and the hottest team in the NFL right now, the Tennessee Titans, sit on top of the division at 5-0. Indy had to claw their way back down to the Cincinnati Bengals to get to 4-2. They're right there, neck and neck a little bit with Tennessee, but Tennessee looks really good this year. That's going to be tough for Indy. Houston and Jax both are round out the bottom of that division at 1-5. They've dug themselves into too deep of a hole too early. We do have 10 games left. You know, in theory, Houston could go 11-5, but that's not going to happen. I think they'd be happy to play 500 football this year. So we'll see what happens with Houston. It's a shame. It's a shame they dug themselves into such a deep hole so early. You know, they got a very talented team, very talented roster. But yeah, sorry, Houston. There's always next year. And then we moved over to the NFC, and we start off with the worst division in football, the NFC East, where Dallas, after a blowout loss to the Arizona Cardinals, still sits atop the division at 2-4. Philadelphia follows at 1-4-1. New York follows at 1-5, and Washington follows at 1-5. We need to get rid of division races. We need to just go straight records. 7 best records in each conference. AFC, NFC. Both top teams get first-round byes. Look how easy that was. Now we just got rid of trash divisions. Come on. We move over to the NFC North. The Chicago Bears, in one of the biggest surprises of the season, sit atop the NFC North at 5-1 over the Green Bay Packers, who got trounced by Tampa Bay. But the Packers always seem to bounce back, so they'll be right there neck and neck with the Bears. I think they'll pull out in front and take that division. Sorry, Griffin, but we'll see. The Bears sit atop the division at 5-1. Green Bay follows at 4-1. The Detroit Lions follow at 2-3. And the Minnesota Vikings, who made it to the playoffs last year, sit bottom of the division at 1-5 after just losing to the Falcons pretty handily. I believe this is around the last year of Kirk Cousins' deal. I don't think they have any owed money to him after this year. We'll see if they move on to him, and they're one of these guys that drafted quarterback, because they have a pretty good roster. They have some good playmakers. They got, Dalvin Cook at running back. They got a pretty stout offensive line. They just got the kid Justin Jefferson, who's a great wide receiver, I think. They got Adam Thielen. They got Kyle Rudolph mixing it up at tight end. I mean, I think they got a good squad. I just think they've had a hard schedule, and they just kind of shit the bed a little bit. They'll probably be in the market for a QB, though, so we'll see what happens. Maybe Sam Darnold. I'm all about it. I'm all about Sam Darnold going to Minnesota. I think that'd be a great fit. So you heard it here first. Sam Darnold, Minnesota Viking? We'll see. And we finish with the NFC South, always a tough division in the NFL. Tampa Bay sits atop the division after beating the Green Bay Packers this week at 4-2. The New Orleans Saints sit at second at 3-2. The Carolina Panthers falter to the Chicago Bears, but they still sit at 500 at 3-3. And Atlanta rounds out the bottom of the division at 1-5 after an impressive win against the Minnesota Vikings. New Orleans is always right there. They're going to be nipping at the Bucs' heels, and the Bucs are going to be nipping at their heels. That's going to be an exciting race to watch. I think Carolina and Matt Rule's first year as head coach, and Christian McCaffrey being out for a long period of time this year, I just don't know if they have enough. I would like them to. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I like what they're doing in Carolina. I hope that they make a run. But with Tampa Bay and New Orleans and two Hall of Fame quarterbacks leading the way, I got to give it to one of those guys. So we'll see what happens. That is NFL Week 6 action. We'll bring you Week 7 this week. But let's toss it over to baseball because we have the World Series kicking off tomorrow. It will start out, obviously, we have the Tampa Bay Rays facing off against the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are heavy favorites right now. We have Tyler Glasnow going for the Tampa Bay Rays and Clayton Kershaw going for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Kershaw obviously has faltered in postseasons as of late. We'll see if he can get it done in Game 1. This will be an important Game 1 for the Dodgers. We'll see if they can get out of the gates fast. Didn't do it against the Braves. Managed to battle back. We'll see what happens. These teams haven't really faced each other a lot, but there is one matchup with one player who has faced somebody a lot, Mookie Betts, who obviously has played his whole career in Boston up until this season, holds a .310 batting average against Rays pitching and 16 home runs against Tampa in 42 games. Mookie will be the deciding factor, I think. He will be the difference maker for the Dodgers. If the Dodgers plan to have success, Mookie has to do good, and I think he will. Mookie's a great player, young guy, has seen the Rays, done well against the Rays, and you're like, oh yeah, but has he done well against, Ian Snell? He has. He's 7 for 23 against Ian Snell lifetime with a dinger. And even their great closer, the Rays, Diego Castillo, Mookie's taken him deep twice. Once is a game winner, and the second one was a go-ahead home run late in the game. So all over, he hits all of these pitchers well, including Tyler Glasnow, who's pitching Game 1. So Mookie Betts will be the deciding factor in this series. If he can get it done, the Dodgers will do well. That's all I got for you guys today as far as scores and stuff go. I will tell you guys, Fresno State, obviously we live in the Central Valley. Fresno State starts their football season this week against Hawaii. Me and Ben will be taking it live, tailgating, giving you some pregame activities, giving you some sports news, some college picks. Watch us live from Fresno State versus Hawaii. It's going to be a good one. I hope the Bulldogs can pull it out, but we'll see. If you guys want to stop by, say what's up, please do. We're going to be cooking some brats. We're going to be drinking some beers, having a good time. We'll give you guys the exact location because I don't know if they're going to let people tailgate inside the stadium parking lot or not. But we're tailgating somewhere, and we're going live near that stadium. Thank you guys so much again for listening to our guys over at Hockey Haven at 3625 Balboa Street in San Francisco, California. It's the bar to be. Great atmosphere, sports, good people. Go to Hockey Haven and tell them that the Garage Guys sent you. Thank you guys very much. You guys have a good night and have a good week.